Joining us now are Juliana and Stephen, and we're going to be talking about distracted driving. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Thanks so much.
Stephen, I got to meet Juliana on an airplane, and we talked the whole way from Michigan all the way to New York. And what a lovely person you are, Juliana.
Thank you.
So, poised and wonderful, and such a good person. And while we were there, we talked a lot about your family and my family. I felt like at the end of the ride, we were like related. What you shared with me, though, was so profound, and that is because, sadly, you lost your brother in a car accident. And Stephen, you had worked in the automotive industry for a really long time. I want to talk about Mitchell and the foundation and what all of us can do to make sure that distracted driving doesn't end up in the results of what happened for your family. So thank you very much for being here. And Stephen, can you talk to us about that day? Can we start there? Because I want to pay respect to Mitchell.
Yeah, it's. I can talk about that day. I'll never forget it. It was actually 7 years ago tomorrow, so September 19th of 2016, a beautiful Monday morning in Michigan. The roads were perfectly clear, the weather was perfect, the sun was out. Mitchell was driving up to Michigan State University in his first month as a Michigan State Spartan. Traffic slowed down, Mitchell slowed down, and unfortunately a young lady behind him that was on her phone rear-ended Mitchell and drove him across a very narrow piece of grass on I-96 in Michigan into oncoming traffic, where he was hit by a truck and killed instantly. And as painful as it is to tell the story, what I remember most about the day is the phone call. And we all, as parents, fear that phone call. My phone call actually came from Juliana. She called just frantic, and Juliana was 16 at the time, a young driver, and my heart dropped. I thought that she had probably been in a crash, and I tried to calm her down, and then she started hysterically mentioning Mitchell's name, and that's when I first knew something really, really bad had happened.
Now, you have, is it 4 children?
4 children,
You
yeah.
have 4 children. So, Juliana, you and your brother, all of your siblings close? Are you close?
Yeah, we were all best friends. Mitchell and I were really close. We were the 2 middle children, both the blondies of the family as well. So him and I were always partners in everything. And yeah, I miss him every single day. But yeah, this is why we're doing what we're doing, because we love him and we miss him so much, and we're so proud of how far we've come as a family, and yeah, just very grateful.
You have come far as a family, individually, and collectively, and I believe that that's what it takes. We have a choice when tragedy happens in our life, right? It's like, who are you going to be on the other side of that tragedy, right? And whether it's change occurs, and sometimes good change occurs, and then we have to adjust to that, right? Because we all grow as people. Sometimes tragedy comes into our lifetime. What did you decide to do? How did it start? Was it like a bake sale,
It's amazing you use those words, because we had the exact same discussion in the week following losing Mitchell, and we said, we can let this destroy our family, or we can repurpose ourselves and try to do something great in Mitchell's honor. Mitchell always said he wanted to change the world, and we said, let's use this opportunity to change the world in his memory. So we, within the month after losing him, we established the Kiefer Foundation with a mission to end distracted driving and all associated crashes and fatalities in Mitchell's honor.
What has the response been so far? Because I know you actually got legislation recently added to Michigan state law, correct? Okay.
We did, and it's Michigan was just done effective the end of June of this year. We now have 29 states that have what we call hands-free legislation that makes it illegal to hold the phone while you're driving a car. And I'm really pleased to be here in New York, because New York is the first state 22 years ago that adopted this legislation. So on one hand, I'm so proud of New York, and I'm pleased that we've managed to get 29 states done now. It's hard to believe that it's taken 22 years to get to the point that we are now. We're going to continue to work to get the remaining 21 states done, and as we always say, we're not going to stop until we have this legislation in all 50 states.
What can people do in their community to support your foundation, Juliana?
I think there's a lot of things that we can all do to make this more relevant in everyone's lives. For us, it's telling the story whenever we can, although it's really hard to tell the story. It means a lot that when we share, people are so respectful and they want to help us in any way they can. When we met, I told you the story, and here we are now. So that was really awesome. But yeah, I think for young people, I'm 23, so it's really important for me to share with all of my peers that you know, we're all obsessed with our phones in this day and age, and it's really important to save that for the right time and place, and behind the wheel is not the time to be on your phone. So
You're supposed to just drive.
Right.
And that basically is the motto today, is just drive, right? So also I think for passengers, I think there needs to be passenger education, proper etiquette when you're the passenger in the car, right?
Yeah.
Don't be like, you know, throwing a ball, you know, to the front, you know, like let that driver drive so that everyone can get there safely.
Yeah.
You have these fun signs too. What are these signs? And just like,
I'm so glad you brought up the signs and the Just Drive slogan. So it was just 2 years ago on the 4th of July weekend, Tom Brady helped us launch what we call Just Drive. And we've had a number of celebrities that have joined in. You can see them on our website, mkiefer.org. But the message is very simple. When you're behind the wheel, put your phones down and just drive. And you're going to receive from us a bunch of hand paddles that basically say that. They're essentially hand fans to keep you cool, but in reality, many people use them in their cars to remind other drivers, put your phones down and just drive.
Yeah. You know what else I think might be handy is, do you remember years ago that you used to have baby on board?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So maybe like a magnet, and we could just like stick it right on the, you know, the driver's side on the outside of your car.
Great idea.
Because it's important. A lot of people are distracted, you know, and even sometimes myself, like I'll have my cell phone and instead of having it in my hand, I have it here and I do the hands-free thing, but it's not necessary, right? You can stop and make that call, or you can, you know, pay attention to the road, right? Because it takes all of your senses, I think, when you're driving. You know, it's the hearing, it's the seeing. It's very, very important.
Absolutely.
You know, maybe not eating the nachos and the, you know, like don't eat and drive either, right? Don't eat and drive. Don't talk and drive.
Exactly. You know,
just drive.
What we always say is just drive, but if you must stay connected, there's so many really powerful tools out there. So you're exactly right, though. Cognitive distraction is a real thing, but at least there are tools like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and hands-free tools that allow you to keep your eyes on the road, your hands on the wheel, and still connect by voice commands if you need to. But again, we prefer that people just focus on the most important task, which is driving.
Ironically, you said you had spent 40 years in the automotive space. You know, do you talk to Mitchell about that sometimes? Like, you know, like now that you've retired from that industry, but yet you're still present in this industry.
Yes, yeah. Well, I'm still really quite active, and I must say, my employer was General Motors, and General Motors has just been extremely supportive throughout the period when we first lost Mitchell, but also in this period of trying to get legislation changed. We have the help of the GM team, and I should even expand that to the entire auto industry. GM's competitors or suppliers are all behind us, because this is not it's not a political issue. It shouldn't be a partisan issue. Everybody should want safer roads, and we're getting a lot of support from our auto industry to do that.
I appreciate you being here. Thank you for sharing your story, especially as you said, it's the anniversary of him not being here anymore, and I am so sincerely sorry for your loss. But hopefully together we can all save some lives, right? And also our own, right? Take responsibility and just drive.
Absolutely.
So thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to blow a kiss over to you, Juliana.
Thank you, Donna.
Who I love is Jules. And thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having us.
Stay tuned for more. We've been talking about the Kiefer Foundation. Please Google them and start this. You could start a fundraiser in your own town and then support this foundation wherever you are in the United States. Please drive safe.